All right, welcome everybody. Let's look at our next method for solving systems of equations. Just as a quick recap, remember we have solved systems using graphing, where we take our equations, compare them together, and we find our solution by graphing them on the coordinate plane. And then we used substitution, where we plugged one equation into another and solved for one variable, and then went back and found the other. Well, we're going to use elimination, and today elimination uh, is to me a little more simple than using substitution, but everybody has their own preference. I just kind of like elimination, especially when we start dealing with our word problems tomorrow. All right. Remember, really quick, elimination is to use elimination. Both of your equations must be in standard form. In other words, your x and your y must be on the same side of the equation. One example would be 3x plus 9y is equal to 12. Okay, so x and y are on the same side, and you have a constant on the other. All right. So let's look at our first problem really quick. Remember, what we're doing here is we're trying to eliminate, which is what the name says. We're trying to eliminate one variable to solve for the other one, and then go back and plug it back in using our substitution. So you thought you were away from substitution, but we're not finished with it yet. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to figure out, how can I eliminate one variable? Well, if I look up at this problem, I see up here that my x variables have the same coefficient and different signs. Well, these two added together would be 0. Well, if I add my y's, I have 6y. And then if I add my constants, negative 12 plus a negative 24, be very careful here. That's negative 36. Remember, same signs, add and keep, right? Okay. Be very careful when you put it in your calculator that you don't put in negative 12 minus a negative 12, because then you're going to change that to a positive 12. So just be very careful here. All right, so 0 plus 6y is 6y. Bring down to 36, and then divide both sides by 6 to solve for y, which gives me negative 36 divided by positive 6 is a negative 6. So I know the y value is negative 6. Now let's go back now and let's find the x value. Okay, to do the x value, it does not matter. You can choose either equation you want to choose. I'm just going to choose that bottom one just because everything is positive. I know you guys don't like dealing with positive numbers, negative numbers, but sometimes you're going to have to. But right now, we're just going to deal with this one. All right. So remember, the value of y is negative 6. So we're going to take it and we're going to substitute it right here for the y value. So when we rewrite this, the y goes away and becomes negative 6. We are substituting it. Okay. So we do our distributive property. 8 times negative 6 is negative 48. Bring down your 4x. Bring down your negative 24. All right, now, so 4x minus 48 equals negative 24. I need to get rid of this 48. Let's move it over here because I'm trying to separate my variables from my numbers, correct? So we have 4x is equal to negative 24 plus 48 is a positive 24. All right. And then we're going to divide by 4. So my solution is x equals 6. All right, so my solution for this system is 6, negative 6. Remember, this is my x and this is my y. Remember, we plug it back in here in each one to check, because this is the point that solves both of these simultaneously. Okay, so the solution is 6, negative 6. All right, let's look at our next one. Well, first off, I like to do this. I remember we talked about this. Let's put our coefficient in if we don't have one. Well, again, we're trying to add here. Well, when I look up here, these y's, the y values, have a positive, have a 1, and then a positive and a negative. They're going to cancel out. So I'm left with 3x is equal to 30. Well, bring down to 30. Okay. Divide by 3. X is going to give me 10. So my solution is 10 something. Okay, so we just need to find out what the y value is. Well, again, it doesn't matter. You choose either one you want to choose. We're going to get the same answer. I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the bottom one. Is equal to 19. Well, if I circle here, remember, be very careful. This says x is 10. The value of x is 10. So we're going to plug it in right here for x. So 2 times 10 plus 1y is equal to 19. Well, if I distribute here, 20 plus 1y is equal to 19. Then we're going to separate, so we're going to move that 20 by taking the opposite to cross out. So 1y is equal to 19 minus 20 is negative 1. And then we're going to divide by 1. y is equal to negative 1 divided by positive 1 is negative 1. So my solution is 10, negative 1. Okay, and then we will plug it back in again to check. So just be careful and just always go back and check. Remember, it has to solve both of these, and this one will. All right. The next one, if I look at this problem, well, I don't have anything here that I can see like I did before. I do see that the y's have the same coefficient, but my signs are the same. So to get rid of this one, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the sign. And to do that, we're going to distribute a negative 1 to everything in that top problem, okay? A top equation. All right, so negative 1 times negative 2 is a plus 2x. And then a negative 1 times a negative 9 is a plus 9y. And then negative 1 times negative 25 is plus 25. Okay, so what we've done is we have changed that equation to this one. So now we can do some adding and subtracting. Well, remember, we're adding, right? So these two, the negative 9y and the positive 9y, are going to cancel out. Now, negative 4x plus 2y is a negative 2x. And then negative 23 plus 25 is a positive 2. All right? So then we're going to divide by the negative 2. X is going to give me negative 1. 2 divided by negative 2 is a negative 1. So I know my solution is negative 1 something. We just need to figure out what the other value is. Well, in this case, what I want to do now is, if you look here, again, I don't matter which one I pick, but now I've got to go back to my original. I can't use this one. We've got to go back to our original, one of the two. So I'm just going to use that second one again. So negative 4x minus 9y is equal to negative 23. Make sure you write out the whole problem and make sure you use the same constant, okay? Well, the value of y is, x is negative 1, so it's going to go where? Right here. All right, again, be very careful to where you place it because it does matter, I promise you. All right, so negative 4 times negative 1 minus 9y is equal to negative 23. When I distribute here, I have negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4. Minus 9y equals negative 23. Now we want to separate the variables and the non-variables, or the constants. So we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. This is going to go away, so I'm left with, let's move this up just a little bit, negative 9y is equal to, now negative 23 minus 4, remember, same signs, you're going to add them and keep, right? All right, and then the last step, divide by negative 9, y should give me 3. So my solution is negative 1, positive 3. X is negative 1, y is 3. Okay, so just go back and check it, make sure it plugs in, and it does. I've checked these already, and they do work. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, I want y'all to think about this one. Do the same thing. I want you to pause the tape just for a second, and I want you to do the same thing we just did. If you need to go back it up and watch the video of the previous one. It's the same concept. You have the 2's here, the y's have the same coefficient and the same sign. So remember, all I want to do is I want to get rid of one. Well, in the first one, we used negative 1 by the top one. So this time, I'm going to use the bottom one. Okay, so I want you to pause the video just a second after we do this. Okay, and again, I know I should be writing this as distributive, I know, but I'm just doing it this way. All right, so just pause the video right quick and see if you can write the equation out, and let's see what you got. All right, welcome back. Let's see what we got. So if I go here, remember, I didn't do anything to this one. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this problem since I didn't touch it. Now we're going to distribute here. Negative 1 times 8 is negative 8x. Negative 1 times 2 is a negative 2y. And a negative 1 times 30 is negative 30. Let me write that a little bit better. Okay. So remember, we are adding, right? All right, so look right here. These will cancel. That's a 0. Negative 2 positive 2 is a 0. So 7x plus a negative x is a negative 1x. I'm sorry, 7x plus a negative 8x is a negative 1x. And 24 plus negative 30 is negative 6, right? All right, so then if I divide by negative 1, I should get x is equal to 6. So half of my solution, the x value is 6. I just need to find the y. Well, again, I don't care. It does not matter which two you choose, which one you choose. Just choose one and go with it. So we're just going to use that top one. All right. Since the value of x is 6, we're going to plug it in right there. So 7 times 6 plus 2y equals 24. So I've substituted in. Now 7 times 6, if I distribute here, is 42 plus 2y is 24. All right, so we're going to subtract 42 from both sides. I have 2y is equal to negative, I think that's negative 18. 24 minus 14 is negative 18. So then I divide by 2. Y should give me negative 9. So my solution is 6, negative 9. And that means this is the only number that will solve both of these at the same time. Okay? All right. How you doing so far? Feeling pretty good about that one? All right. Just be careful here. Again, you can't cross these out because these are the same signs. Okay, I saw a couple of us do it today in class. Just be very careful here, right? All right, so here we go. Let's go to the next one. All right, now this one's a little bit different. Look up here. Neither one of these, neither the x nor the y, have something ready to cross out. So we got to do something a little bit different here. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to look for the least common multiple of one of these. Well, 10 is a multiple of 5, and 7 is a multiple of 1. So you can choose whichever one you want to. I'm going to find the least common multiple of 5 and 10. Okay? And if you think about this, even if you can't remember that the least common multiple of 5 and 10 is 10, you can always multiply this 5 times 10 and get 50. Okay, but the whole key here is, remember, we want to make one of these the opposite of the other. Well, this is the bigger one, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to turn this 5x into the opposite of that. To do that, I'm going to multiply by negative 2. So let me show you that distributed this way. Let's just do distributed this way. It makes it a little bit easier. So negative 2 here, and then negative 2 here. So we're going to distribute here and distribute here. So negative 2 times 5 is negative 10x. Negative 2 times 1 is a negative 2y. And then 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. Okay? So now I'm back to where we first started. Okay, so negative 10x, so we can cross this out. All right, so negative 7 minus 2 is negative 9y. Negative 18 minus negative 18 is not 0, guys. Remember, it's negative 36. Okay, and then if I divide by negative 9, I should get y is equal to negative 36 divided by negative 9 is a positive 4. So my y value is 4. I just got to find the x. Choose either one you want to choose. Again, it doesn't matter. I'm going to choose the top one just by default because both of these are positive. And again, I keep saying that, but I don't want you to be afraid of the negative numbers, but it's just a little, sometimes it's just a little easier. So 5x plus 1y is equal to 9. Well, the value of y is 4, right? So we're going to plug it in right here. So 5x plus 1 times 4 is 9. All right, so distribute here. 5x plus 4 is equal to 9. We're going to subtract 4. This goes away. 5x is equal to 9 minus 4 gives me 5. All right, then we're going to divide by 5, and we have x is equal to 1. So my solution for this system is x equals 1, y equals 4. So they cross at the point 1, 4 if we were to graph these two. All right. Let's look at a couple more. All right. So let's try this one. So if we go back over here, remember we had nothing that we could cross out. All right. So this same thing happens here. Nothing to cross out. But if I look, I notice that 9 is a multiple of 3. 7 is not a multiple of 5. What that means is I can't multiply anything times 5 to get 7, right? So, but I can multiply something times 3 to get 9. And in this case, since both of these are negatives, I'm going to leave, I need to make this one a positive, okay, because the bigger one is negative 9, small one is negative 3. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply, and again, let's show that distributive property the right way. So we're going to distribute right here, we're going to distribute a negative 3 because I need this to turn into a positive 9x, right? Remember, if you do it over there, you got to do it over here, okay? All right, let's draw that. I haven't been drawing that, have I? So we're going to distribute here. Negative 3 times negative 3 is plus 9x. Negative 3 times positive 7 is a negative 21y. And then negative 6 times negative 3 is a positive 48. All right, so now we can cross out. Negative x's will cancel, and that leaves me with 0 plus 5y minus 21y is a negative 16y. And then 16 plus 48 is 64. Divide by negative 16. I'm sorry, yeah, divide by negative 16. Be careful here. So y is equal to 64 divided by negative 16 gives me negative 4. Okay? So my solution is something negative 4. Pick one. Again, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to pick let's pick the bottom one this time. So negative x, negative 9x plus 5y is equal to 16. We're going to circle here. The y value is negative 4. Remember that means is. So it's going to go right here. So negative 9x plus 5 times negative 4 is equal to 16. All I did was substitute the y value in for y. Okay? So then I can distribute here. So I have negative 9x minus 20 is equal to 16. Okay? So add 20 to both sides. Goes away. Negative 9x is equal to 36. Alright, then if I divide by negative 9, I have x is equal to negative 36 divided by negative 9 gives me negative 4. So my solution is negative 4, negative 4. X is negative 4, y is negative 4. Alright, does that make sense, guys? I hope it does, and I know if I'm going a little fast, remember, you can back this up, you can slow it down. But remember, all we're doing is trying to cancel one and solve the other, right? All right, well, let's see what we got here. Well, this one looks a little bit different, doesn't it? Well, because 5 is not a multiple of 3 and 6 is not a multiple of 4. So we got a little bit of work for ourselves here, this one. So what I need to do now is just choose one. I can either choose the x or I can choose the y. And in this case, since I'm going to solve this one, I'm going to say, let's just go ahead and solve for y. So what I want to find here is I want to find the least common multiple of 4 and 6. Okay? Now, if you can't remember, the least common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. Remember, you can always say 4 times 6 is 24, and you'll get the same thing. So what I need to do, since both of these are positive, okay, what I need to do, remember, I need to turn one of these into a negative 24, I'm sorry, a negative 12, and one into a positive 12, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply this top one by negative 3. That's going to give me my negative 12. And I'm going to multiply the bottom one by positive 2. Okay, so now if you'll see, we've got to multiply, and I'm going to go back and show you that the correct way. I'm going to distribute that the right way. So we're going to distribute both of these by negative 3, and then this one by positive 2. And then again, don't forget to do it over here on this side. Alright, so if I distribute the top one, negative 3 times 5x is a negative 15x. Negative 3 times a positive 4 is a negative 12y. And then negative 4 times negative 3, I'm sorry, negative 14 times negative 3 should give me a positive 42. Let me make sure just to be safe. Okay, so I have, what is that, 14, negative 14 times negative 3. Okay, good, just to be safe. Okay, it's 42. All right, now the bottom one we're going to distribute here. 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times positive 6 is a positive 12y. And then 6 times 2 is 12. Alright, so now if you think about this, everything we've done, we've gone back to really that first problem where we're trying to eliminate. And what I've done is I've created my own numbers here. I've turned these two equations into these to eliminate. So there goes the y's. Negative 15 plus 6 is a negative 9x. Okay, 42 and 12 is 54. So when I divide by negative 9, I have x is equal to 54 divided by negative 9 is a negative 6. So my solution is negative 6 something. Let's just find out what it is. Now, again, you got to go back. You can't use one of these. You've got to go back to the original. Let's just use that top one. Okay, so we use 5x plus 4y is equal to, what was that, negative 14? All right, well, the value of x is negative 6, correct? So we're going to substitute right there. All right, so let's do that. So 5 times negative 6 plus 4y is equal to negative 14. Well, when I distribute here, 5 times negative 6 is negative 30, plus 4y is equal to negative 14. All right, so when I add 30 to both sides, this goes away, so I have 4y. Now, negative 14 plus 30 gives me 16. All right, and I'm going to divide by 4. Divide by 4. X gives me, I'm sorry, back it up, that's not x. That is y, correct? We're solving for y now. So y gives me 4. So my solution is negative 6, positive 4. All right? All right, y'all bear with me. I've just got 1 or 2 more to go. I just want to kind of try to show you an example of everything that we talked about in class. So we got one more here. Same situation. The coefficients in front of the x are different. The coefficients in front of the y are different. Neither one of these, this is not a multiple of 4, and then 9 is not a multiple of 8. So we've got to choose one that we want to get rid of. Well, in this case, I'm going to choose the x's this time. We did the y last time. Let's do the x's this time. Well, what I need to do is I need to figure out something that's going to allow me to turn the x's into opposite numbers, right? All right, so in this case, what I'm going to do is I know the least common multiple of 7 and 4 is what? 28, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn 1 into 28, 1 into negative 28. Well, let's go ahead and turn this one. Since both of them are negative, it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and turn this one into a positive 28. Well, to do that, we've got to distribute this by a negative 4. All right, and a negative 4 here. So let's do it real quick. So we have positive 28x. Negative 4 times negative 8 is a plus 32y. Oh, let me draw that a little bit. Plus 32y. And then 9 times negative 4 is negative 36. So we've turned the top one here. So now let's turn this bottom one. We want to leave this negative because we need one to be the opposite. So all I'm going to do here is multiply times 7. Okay, so all I did, if you'll see, I just did the opposites, right? All right, so 7 times negative 4 is negative 28x. 7 times 9y is 63y. And then we're going to multiply by 7 here. 7 times negative 22, I think, is negative 154. But just to be safe, I'm going to check it. Okay, so 22 negative times 7 should give me negative 154. Okay, so we're good. All right, remember, we are adding, right? Well, look, now my x's, we can cross them out because they are opposites. Now, 32y and 63y is 95y. And then I have negative 36 plus a negative 154. So again, I'm going to turn to my calculator. Negative 36 plus negative 154 gives me negative 190. Okay. So we're going to divide both sides by 95. So I have y is equal to, and again, let's do our calculator, negative 190 divided by 95 gives me a value of negative 2. So y is negative 2. Okay, so my solution, whatever it is something negative 2, right? Well, let's figure out what it is. Remember, we can't use one of these. We've got to use one of our original equations, right? So last time we used the top one. This time let's just use the bottom one. All right, so a little too far. Sorry. So let's use the bottom one. So negative 4x plus 9y is equal to negative 22. Well, in this case, remember, y is negative 2, so it goes right here. So negative 4x plus 9 times negative 2 equals negative 22. All right. 9 times negative 2 is a negative 18. Bring down your equal sign and the negative 22. All right. So then we're going to come back right here. We're going to add 18 to both sides. So we have negative 4x because this is going to be 0. So bring down the negative 4x. Negative 22 plus 18 is a negative 4. Divide by negative 4. X is negative 4 divided by negative 4 is a positive 1. So my solution, and y'all, it's way back up here, right, is 1, negative 2. All right, and again, remember, we've been working pretty hard on this all week. Make sure you are going back. I know I'm not doing it, but make sure you're going back in and checking that these solutions work. Okay? All right, take a deep breath. Last one. All right, we're going to do one more. This is the one I like to show you because this one is a little bit different, and because our answer is going to be a little bit different. All right, well, if I look up here, same situation. Nothing is ready to cancel out. Multiplying by -1 is not going to help. 5 is not a multiple of 2, and 20 is not a multiple of 8. So we got to choose what we want to do to get rid of this. Well, this is going to be a pretty good size. Well, it's not really a big number. 40 would be the least common multiple. But remember, if you don't know how to do that, if you can't remember, 8 times 20 would be 160. So I'm going to choose to get rid of these x's. Okay, so what I want to do is I got to distribute something on both sides, right? And what I want to do is turn this into the opposite. Well, the least common multiple of 2 and 5 is 10. So I want to turn this, since this is negative, let's just leave it negative. Let's leave this positive. I want to turn this into a positive 10, this into a negative 10. Well, to do that, I'm going to multiply the top by 5 and the bottom by 2. All right, so if I distribute here, 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 8 is 40y. 6 times 5 is 30, right? Let's check the bottom. 2 times -5 is -10x. 2 times -20 is -40y. And then -15 times 2 is -30. And I know some of y'all see it in class. I know y'all are already hollering, hey, that's going to be infinite. Well, let's make sure this crosses out, that's 0. This crosses out, that's 0. This crosses out, that's 0. 0 plus 0 is 0 equals 0. And you are exactly right. This is a true statement, which means, and that is terrible. I do apologize. Let me fix this. That means my solutions are infinite, which means I can use that symbol. So what that means is, and y'all know infinite solutions means I can put anything in for x and y here and put it in here for x and y here, and it's going to solve both equations. Doesn't matter any x, any y I pick, both of them will be the same, will come out to be true. Okay? All right, guys, I know that was a lot. I appreciate your patience. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you're getting something out of it. You know, kind of leave me some feedback. Let me know what you think. We'll talk about it more tomorrow in class. Be ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow we start word problems. Okay? Y'all have a good evening, and thank y'all for watching.